Section 230 is part of federal legislation passed over 20 years ago, providing immunity to social media companies against being sued over the content of their sites. Since the companies don't create the content, its members do. It reads, quote, "No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another content provider," unquote. At the time, people likened social media to the post office. There's information all the time that people send through the mail, but the post office is merely the conduit, not the generator or policer of the information. The problem comes, however, when Facebook and Twitter act as arbiters of truth, something the post office never does. Both Trump and Biden feel the protection of Section 230 should be revoked, claiming that the platforms propagate falsehoods. The idea is that if the platforms moderate some of the posts, they are in essence moderating all of the posts, since they let the others stay there. The question is where the lines should be drawn, and who is responsible to draw them. Often the social media companies censor pornography, terrorism, sex trafficking, and harassment, and rightly so. But then what about hate speech, racism, politics, deep fakes, misinformation? Section 230 allows companies and individuals to say whatever they want without repercussion. The question at hand weighs free speech against true and responsible speech. Is it anything goes, no matter how gross, false, illegal, or hateful, it should be allowed? Or is it nothing goes, and they all go out of business? And if it's somewhere in the middle, which it obviously is, who gets to decide? Who are the arbiters of truth, decency, freedom, or hate? And, of course, can Section 230 be amended without doing more harm than good? Also, how can our understanding of the Bible and biblical values contribute to this discussion? Obviously, it would be great if everyone would only tell the truth. But that's about as naive as hoping that we can defund the police and get more peaceful streets, or that we can reduce our military and still have a country safe from foreign attack. Since the world is full of liars with little or no conscience, legislators and judges have to get involved if we want justice and truth to win out here. We know that real power comes from lying. Lying allows manipulation and therefore control. True power comes from controlling what people think. George Orwell, in the book 1984, said, quote, "The real power is power over men, not power over things," unquote. I think we all recognize that if the press and social media are not committed to the truth, justice is what will suffer. People will be hurt and not treated fairly. So we're into real tricky territory with balancing freedom of speech with hurtful speech. It seems to me that any responsible approach to freedom of speech in social media has to censor pornography, terrorism, and sex trafficking. Social media and society will collapse under the weight of immorality if those are allowed. But it also seems to me that if they are truly neutral conduits of participant contributions, they cannot set themselves up as arbiters of the truth. Just like in any conversation on the street, we all have to be our own filters. Democracy has to assume a certain level of ability to think, or it doesn't work. If Facebook and Twitter truly consider themselves as social media, not journalists, they have to get out of the political censorship business and let people use their own brains. And if people are too stupid to handle that, America's in trouble anyway. And if social media try to monitor the discussion, which they don't do well, America is in trouble anyway. We've seen they just don't do that well. The best option on the table is truth from the press, neutrality from the social media, objective education from the universities, and biblical Christian education of believers. Even though only one of those is happening right now, the biblical education of believers, and even that is questionable. It is still not the right or responsibility of social media to arbitrate truth. They've proven they do not do that well. And if they continue to censor political speech, their status under Section 230 should be revoked. Only if they take hands off do they deserve any kind of protection. That's my opinion. Feel free to talk to me about it in the comments below.